Alrighty then. Alrighty then. Forgive me, Lord. God, I have fallen back into a life of sin. Last year at this time, you showed me the way to defeat my ego. You blessed me with the Holy Spirit. You gave me a higher purpose for my higher self. And I have let you down. I understand, God, that it is not my duty to be a hero for others. I accept the responsibility to change my own circumstances. I have faith and trust in your higher power and your guidance for me to persevere through these earthly troubles, these worldly troubles that are so minuscule to my abundance. Please bring me back into your grace and light. Help me see. I'd like to ask you, God, to allow my spirit guides, my guardian angels, back into my life. I understand why they left. Please give me the strength to overcome the challenges that hold me back. I'm ready to be a seer again. I'm ready to be a werewolf. I'm ready to do anything I can that aligns with my higher purpose. I turned my back on God because I saw the reality of the world. And even though I had that great spiritual awakening last year, I started to realize that there's nothing I can do to save humanity, to change the circumstances of a population. And then I was willing to, walk into the wilderness and have nothing, and still holding on to this 3D world because my kids live in it. And they still have to go through the school system, and they still have to worry about what their careers or whatever that's going to be. And I'm like, am I setting a good example? And so you take that and the complexities of what God showed me my purpose was before, being a messenger, spreading truth and love, increasing awareness, breaking down all the systemic lies of the beast system. I have all these great ideas. I want to be a novelist. I want to be a writer, but I kind of got lost. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to break the addictions that I have as far as alcohol, drugs, masturbation, just all these different things that ultimately tie back into the ego. And then I just allowed my ego to win. I gave in to every single temptation because I felt defeated by even my spiritual agenda. I was watching something earlier today that kind of led me to understand, it's like, hey, trying to be a hero, and I created all these pages called Let's All Become Heroes, thinking, hey, let's find all the like-minded and change the world together. And a lot of the people didn't come from the same circumstances as me. I've been living without income for a while now. When that wasn't going as well, as I was dealing with other people's stress, trying to change the world, I completely fell back into an ego, and temptation just devastated my life because I felt like I was too small. In fact, I was just like, I will never participate in corporate socialism again, because I can prove how that is inherently all a part of the beast system. And this is a spiritual war. This has always been a spiritual war. It has nothing to do with politics. There is no left or right. That's all idolatry. And grounding and earthing is something that I started to do to reattach myself to earth. And it's that simple. The science part of it, I don't like talking about science because I'm a spiritual person. I think that we live in a world where it's science versus spirituality, right? And when you are looking for answers, and this is where it gets complicated, because this is where the scientist wants facts, needs something we can prove in a laboratory, and God and omnipotence and spirituality isn't something that you can necessarily prove in a lab. However, there is science that can explain how earthing or grounding, putting your bare feet on the ground, is beneficial to your health, gives you energy, positive energy, in a way that we're told to eat to provide, vitamins, minerals, nutrients. You hear about protein, sugars, saturated fat, whatever it is that you need to give your body energy. Well, just as important is getting outside and putting your bare feet on the earth, or hugging a tree. I know that sounds crazy, like the whole hippie movement, people being labeled and called tree huggers and such, but there's some realness to that. There is a consciousness and a connectable collective consciousness of everything that's alive, and everything is alive for the most part, right? Anything that's not man-made, trees, animals, the ground. And there's actually a scientific study that shows that the electrons and neutrons that it runs right up through your foot and into your body. It gives you a charge, a positive charge. It's good. If you're ever needing to meditate and ground yourself, think about that as far as how electricity actually works. You need a ground to make everything, as above, so below kind of thing. And when you connect yourself back to the earth, there's a realness there, a connection to a higher power that is beyond my understanding. I just understand that it makes me feel better. I've always been somebody like Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn, like to run around outside in my bare feet. I did that all the time as a child, and I think about how happy I was as a child. We get lost when we become adults. We get so tenuous to our routines of making money, chasing money, building financial stability, having success, worrying about what others think of us. It's so many things that ultimately, if you're not succeeding to whatever expectations you set for yourself, you start to feel like a failure, and that's when you allow all these other negative things to come in. Your ego swells, and the temptation's easier to just say, yeah, I'm going to do that, whether it be consuming too much alcohol or drugs or whatever you need to overcome that stress, that anxiety that is living in your mind. Take the time, get outside, clear your mind, do some sun gazing, feel the breeze, hug some trees, and just put your feet on the earth. Step one. That's all you need to do. Just start there. If you're looking for answers, if you're having something going on in your life that you can't overcome, or if your routine is just too much for you, that you feel like you can't take anymore, get outside. Hopefully, call some friends, like-minded friends, and say, let's go put our feet on the freaking earth. Go to a beach, put your feet in the sand. Get out to your local parks, whatever parks you have, put your feet on the earth. Dirt, soil, grass is fine. Just go for a walk. I'm getting ready to spend another summer alone, and it's been weighing really heavy on my mind. Trying to decide how to own this, but have you ever had a dream? Like, I don't know if any of you guys ever dream of your exes. I had a dream last night. It was so real, and it was as though like none of the bad things had happened, and we just kind of picked up back where the good things were. It wasn't a sex dream or anything like that. It was just a dream of complete understanding one another. I don't remember the specifics of the dream. I just know that she was there, and it was like I consciously knew the mistakes that I made and was seeking her forgiveness through my actions in this dream, like how I treated her differently in the dream, making her smile and laugh. And then how the dream can be sporadic, and next thing I know, I'm in a football game with my old high school football coach. But it was a weird game. I knew that I was going to be 43 years old, and I'm playing with these younger boys, like in college or whatever. It was like we were at a university or whatever. But it started off with my ex-girlfriend was like there, walked me into this situation. It was like, if you can achieve here, you can win me back, kind of thing. Like, go be what you were supposed to be. And that's why I brought up, like, I've been feeling a certain way, knowing that I'm facing this summer all alone again, while I watch social media and see all my friends having great summers with their families and everything else. And meanwhile, I'm living in a situation where I live with two people that share nothing in common with me. My kids still live 4 hours away from me, so I don't get to see them hardly at all, especially as they're teenagers now and so busy playing baseball. My daughter has her first summer job, which I'm excited for her. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I was defeated by capitalism, and I know that it's hard for people who aren't in my shoes to understand that I'm so in debt and so screwed by capitalism that, I don't want to get into the details of it, but I can't make money. I was doing well. Like, when I first became an adult, I was doing really well for myself. I moved up the corporate ladder, if you will, quickly. I was a leader among adults and well respected. And somehow my childhood trauma, the demons from my past, hacked me back down, and whatever stress, I don't know. It's hard for me to pinpoint where I lost control. And now I don't know what to do. But if you've ever had a dream about an ex, let me know. I have books on dreams. I've studied Sigmund Freud. I like Freud. I like Carl Jung. Been listening to a lot of Alan Watts. Listening to Ram Dass. Been trying to really work on my spirituality, but without doing the work, like just increasing my awareness of what it is and what it takes. I don't want to live where I live anymore, and I don't know where to go because I am dead broke. I wanted to walk into the wilderness, but I've seen all this different stuff going on in the world that makes me realize that maybe what I'm supposed to do is get these books out, get my life experience out, so whoever is going through the same shit that I've gone through, maybe I can help them so they don't get into this situation where you just feel completely alone. There's nothing worse. I miss my kids. I miss my friends back home. But even when I lived back home, it wasn't like I got to see my friends every day, so it's like, I don't know, man. It just sucks being an adult. This fucking adulting shit sucks, man. I just want to play. I don't want to waste my time at a corporate job. It's terrible. How do we go back into a world where money is insignificant and abundance is just like, I have no problem with work. I want a homestead, but I don't have property. And this morning, that ex that I had a dream about, I decided to reach out to her because that dream made me feel good, made me realize, and when you start to understand dreams too, is am I dreaming in an alternate dimension, whereas maybe we did make it, Or am I dreaming of, like, is this something that I'm living out in my dreams to find that correction, that, that the message, the lesson that I haven't learned? It's like in that relationship, like all relationships beforehand, it failed ultimately for the same exact reasons. I let jealousy and trust and honesty break us apart. And as soon as I found out she hadn't, well, this is before we were actually official, but she hadn't been faithful, I gave up then, yet stayed in the relationship, which wasn't fair to her. And then when it became a commitment, all of that should have been forgiven. And I hold on to these grudges, I hold on to these things that torment me and make me go crazy. And I realized that has everything to do with me and nothing to do with those other people in my relationships. This particular girl was great for my kids. Had the best summer ever. And ultimately I screwed it up because my demons resurfaced. And whenever my demons resurface, I do what everybody else does. I drink and drugs so I don't have to fucking listen or feel that sorrow, feel that doubt, or that negative energy, that fear. And ultimately that destroyed my relationship. And looking back at some of the messages, even when the relationship was decent, it was never a healthy relationship, and I know that now. I think I loved her because of the things that she was doing for my kids and the promises that we had for one another. Like, we did talk about a future, and I look forward to that. It gave me hope. I've since decided to never be in a relationship again, so I'm 4 years single now and completely alone, and I'm trying to figure out how to, like, what's next? This has led me to suicide before, or at least a suicide attempt, and I don't want to. The number one priority for me is to get as close to my kids as I possibly can and be a major part of their lives. They're so busy now that they hardly respond to my texts or calls. My son does a pretty good job, but I can't get my daughter on the phone to save my life. She's 15 going on 30. Trying to do spiritual work, meditate, prayer, grounding, earthing, trying to find healthier hobbies. I'm back on a sober journey. Memorial Day is officially my first day of sobriety, so I'm going for that again. To be honest with you, it's because I no longer have money, and I have no intentions of ever having money again. We'll see how that goes. I had an amazing dream last night about my ex-girlfriend. It's not the first time I've ever dreamt about her since we've broken up. But this particular dream was one of those ones where you wake up with this feeling of, like, there was peace, there was serenity. It was good to see her happy again. Like, obviously, towards the end, if I was in front of her, it was screaming or hate or whatever, it was not good. So to see her in the dream where I remember the good times, and I'm like, man, why couldn't we make that last? It was really good for a while. It was really romantic. It was a really cool relationship, and I woke up feeling attached to that feeling and needing to reconnect and say, hey, just reached out. Just basically, timing is everything. And I think that if we had met and under different circumstances at a different time, who knows? But also, everything happens for good reason and purpose, and that relationship has sent me on this spiritual journey that I'm on. But I couldn't help but think, like, why was she visiting me in my dreams? Does she even know? Obviously, she doesn't know in this dimension. There's no way she could possibly know I had a dream about her last night. But did she ever dream about me? Is there a good memory still there for her too? I don't know. But I sent her a private message. She hasn't checked my messages for a while. But that's the type of person I am. I just sent her, hey, I hope you're doing well. I had a weird, strange dream. You were there last night. It was good to see you smiling again. And then basically, once again, apologize for my actions that ultimately led to our breakup. And, is it something that, like, I'm seeking that forgiveness? Am I needing that to move on with my life? The end of the relationship was so strange. She just simply got out of the car and never came back. Stopped at the gas station. She got out of the car and never came back. And that was it. It was so strange that I just didn't feel like, I guess I never had closure. And she moved on quickly. And at first that was devastating. You know how it is when somebody moves on quickly. And we live in a society where people move on quickly so they don't have to think about their ex and stuff like that. Like, we live in a hookup culture, so it's easy to do. But I'm not that way. And so for me, it was when that person immediately is in another relationship, was like, holy shit, like, I was not valuable in this person's life whatsoever. How do we go from that? How do we go from saying I love you to not talking ever? I've never understood that. I told my brother and sister, when they go through their weird relationship changes and everything, I tell them, if I've ever told anybody in my life that I love them, then I still do today. And I always will. But I also realized that in some of those people's lives, I was that toxic person that they had to cut the tie with and set healthy boundaries for themselves, and I totally respect that. I can see that now. I get it. What a world. But anyways, saw you in my dreams last night. You know who you are. Hope you're doing well. I still love you.
Perhaps one of my favorite things is listening to the wind blow through the trees, rustling the leaves, put you at ease. If you're ever having a bad day, just go sit underneath a tree, look up. soothing.